Hi, my name's Kayla Richardson. I am doing case study number 9, which focuses on the dilemma of the homeless shelters. In this video, I will go through the case study and its details, the stakeholders and their perspectives, the expert I interviewed, and my recommendation. To begin my case study, the dilemma with the homeless shelters, it's broken up into 2 parts. The first part is following this female student that goes by the name of Linda Davis. She was getting her degree in public administration, and what made her go into this degree was one of her classes. There was a speaker by the name of Roger Dwightler, and he spoke on the severity of homelessness. And within that time frame, he gave an example about how a young single mother with her children go to emergency housing, and during the day they have to go out because of the time restriction, and that creates a problem because they were ashamed. The mother had no job and the child care was too expensive, so their last option was going to the public restroom, and even with that it was difficult because they had to keep moving because there was so much time they can be in there without being caught. So Linda Vega continued with her degree, and during that time that made such an impact on her that she continued to write essays on how she can make the change. And after she graduated, she started working to change the way that people who are homeless have that opportunity. And the second part of this case study is focusing on the New York problem. Many people who are homeless have friends or family in New York, so they travel there hoping they'll stay with them. Sometimes that is the case, other times it wasn't. It got so bad that there was a case that was brought to court, and the ruling was that emergency housing had to take in anyone who's claiming homelessness without hesitation. The next part of this is the stakeholders. In the case study, there was 2 parts of this. Linda Vega, Roger Dwightler is on one side, and their perspective is wanting to make a change. They wanted to fix the problem, and they started to make an impact. And on the other side is the government, whether it's local, state, or federal. It's torn of what they want to do for their city and area. They are creating laws restricting homeless people being out on the street. and that's creating a problem with them. Moving forward, I interviewed an expert who is in the real estate business. She closes on homes, and during my interview, the main topic of discussion was the housing crisis and how people, no matter if their salary is based off the hour or whatever their case may be, it is not enough to rent or buy a home off the, right off the bat. They have to continuously save up because of how expensive it is. For example, in the state of Florida, and this is where she's licensed at, renting a home can be a couple thousand per month. Buying a house, which probably on the low end, can be around a $500,000 if you want a good place in a good area. And this hits home for me because if I did not have family to stay with, I would be in that position of homelessness. And there's no laws creating the cap on renting or buying. The seller can just put it as high as they want to, with no one to stop them. And with all this information, I believe I can make a recommendation. My recommendation is to compromise. Look at both sides of the table. It does not have to be black and white. With creating laws, restrictions, or whatever it is, you can still have these laws, but also make sure you know how it's going to affect the homeless people. If you do it, make sure they have a safe place to stay. If I was on the street right now, which thankfully I'm not, the closest homeless shelter would be in Williams Park, and that is a very dangerous place for someone my gender, which I identify as a female, and someone who is my age. I am young, and I don't feel safe walking from where I am down to that homeless shelter by myself. In which, at the other end of the table, I get putting these laws in place is wanting to have people, visitors, come and make them feel safe. I get it. But do it in a manner where you're not putting down people. In addition, I feel like one thing that may help with the problem is paying people a livable wage. I know that's a whole economic stance, but don't pay them where they're just having to focus on either paying the bills worrying about food or worrying about having a roof over their head. Like, don't let them worry about, oh, which one comes first today. Because that can be dangerous for their safety, not knowing when their next meal is. So in conclusion, this video went over the case study, the two parts, one with Linda Vega and how she wanted to fix it, and the second part was about the crisis in New York. Then I went over the stakeholders and their perspective, my expert that I interviewed, and my perspective.